there were some people that took offense, and you can't blame them. I mean, honestly, you can't blame them. If they still take offense, okay. I mean, it's all good. I really stopped a long time ago trying to justify who I am to anybody on this planet. And I promise you, you will reach a level of inner peace when you get to that point. It's a little bit more difficult if you do what we do, but I avoid it. I avoid it by not looking at it. I don't go and look at the things that people say about me. It's another one of the reasons I would never show up at something like that. Because if somebody wants to say I'm not real fond of the cat, that's their prerogative. But I don't need to know that they said it. Honestly, it's always a bummer when it gets put into such a public place that there's no avoiding it, and it happens. There's nothing you can do about it, you know. But we're going to talk about some cool stuff today that's going to touch on this. We really are, because I think this is one of the coolest concepts ever. I'm really, really proud of this whole thing. This whole drama bonding as a concept, and something that I would really like to articulate. I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense. You can tell me I'm wrong, right? Belated birthday. I'll take the belated birthday and the happy 4th. Both were great days. I'll be really honest with you. The animals don't love the 4th of July, and you can't blame them, right? I'm not a huge fan of the 4th of July. My daughter gets very, she really has a problem with loud noises and flashes. And it's something that I never would have thought about ever in my life. Right. Until you have to. But there are people who fireworks are very much like for them, like they are for animals, where it's just super uncomfortable. I bought her a kick-ass pair of headphones to wear for 4th of July so that no sound gets in. But I feel for the animals who can't say, hey, you know what? I'm a little freaked out by this. Can you buy me a cool set of headphones? Yeah. This is important. Over the 4th of July weekend, some people made some mistakes. I get emails. Hello, down the rabbit hole. It's good to see you. I get emails over the anytime we have a holiday weekend. 4th of July is a big one. New Year's is a huge one, right? Where a bunch of people will reach out and say, I relapsed. And it's a bummer. It really is. Your work. So coming off of the holiday weekend, there's a lot of people that reach out to you and they say, I stumbled, I fell. And I got an email that is so reminiscent of every other one that I can pick on this person. I'm not going to use their name, but they're all so similar. I could be talking about any of you. But the bottom line was this person had a block of sobriety. Throw any number you want in there. Let's go 5 years just for giggles. 5 years of sobriety. And Admiral, I blew it. It's gone. Every bit of it, man. I pissed it down the toilet. I flushed it, like all of the different terms, but it's gone, right? 5 years of exceptional work. 5 years of saying no every single time you really wanted to say yes, right? 5 years of doing what it takes, journaling, right? All of the stuff that you got to do if you want to live a better life. That cat did that for 5 years. How in hell does the fact that they stumbled negate that, right? That's important stuff. And I'm sorry, but it's just, they beat the piss out of this in rehab, and it's disturbing to me. Hello, Marion Calabro. Good to see you. I honestly find this super disturbing. So if you had that 5 years, you still did 5 years of sobriety. I don't know how to break that to you, right? Nothing takes that away. The fact that you stumbled, I've never been a big fan of starting over at day one. It's not day one, you know? Christina Lynn said, Captain, I wrote you January 3rd was coming clean off years of benzo prescriptions, and journaling has helped me stay clean for 6 months. How great is that? And life's a journey. Tammy says, it's not a failure. You're damn right it's not a failure. And I got news for you. Guess what? If you write that off as a failure, what do? You get a clean slate? I'm 30 days sober, right? No mistakes. No. Take the mistake. Learn from that crap. Embrace it. Right? There are great relapses. This is a concept I don't think people understand. There are awful relapses. Those are relapses where you learn nothing, right? Those are awful. Great relapses are where you have the opportunity to learn what you did, right? Retracing steps, figuring out, because it didn't start the day you relapsed. I don't know how to break that to you. But if you relapsed on July 4th, get in your journal about a month back and start reading, and you will find out exactly where you jumped the track. I promise you. It's why we journal. I promise you. You will go, holy crap, it was right there. If I had done this differently, right, all of a sudden this becomes a great relapse. Now this gets to be the one that takes you off into the finish line. And the finish line is having that box closed on you, right, or put in a jar or whatever your wishes may be. But that you take your last breath without being addicted to your substance of choice. That's the game we're playing, right? That's winning. I don't know. Works for me. So let's talk about drama bonding. Everybody has a pretty good concept of trauma bonding. It's something that we talk about all the time on the boat. And it's something that we're all at risk of because so many of us have survived some pretty rowdy trauma. And I get emails all the time concerning me and my partner, and the fear that there's trauma bonding there. And to be sure, there's trauma bonding there, right? We're not stupid. But it's also something that we talk about a great deal because when you go through something that's pretty rugged, it will drive people apart or it'll drive people together. The really incredible thing, if Quibs and I were really honest, it drove us apart. It did not drive us together. When we got away from it, though, it certainly had a much different effect, right? But drama bonding is something a little bit different. We talk about parasocial relationships. It's a term that gets used all the time to describe what it is we're doing right now, right? A couple of hundred people hanging out and listening to someone talk who they have a relationship with, right? When people pop up, hey, Cosmic Christie, when names pop up or somebody talks about how much sobriety they have or when they've been struggling, very often, and we have a pretty good idea of what those struggles are because there's a lot of correspondence between us and the audience, right? So it's here we tend to be maybe a little bit more social than para just meaning running to the right of, right, or running to the side of. It's parallel to the side of real friendship, and I take offense at that. I really do. All of the most important people in my life currently, right, in terms of friends, are people that I met in this fashion. Elizabeth Frazier, you look great in green. Welcome. Really appreciate the support. Thank you. Everybody, all of my friends, my best friends, obviously my partner. This is a very real thing to me. It really is. It is a very, very real thing to me. And maybe it's a little different. You know, I know that other content creators do things the way that they do them. I know that people get really pissed at how much time we spend talking to the audience. Mile High Hokey, good to see you. Roberta, how are you? Aspire to inspire. They get a little bummed out at the amount of roll call we do, right? There are people that get really bummed out about it. I get it. But there's a reason we do that. And the reason is we preach connection here. It's really kind of a different beat, right? We have come to believe that a lack of human connection is the problem with everything going on Earth. Now, here's where we start to get into problems. I think almost everybody believes that, right? But unfortunately, very often, the people that sit in these chairs, we share with the world our innermost and deepest, things going on in our lives. For some content creators, not everybody. Most content creators, you don't even see their face. But when you begin to share your life with people, they take a very different interest in you, right? Absolutely logical. But we find a lot of times that people can get so attached to creators. There is a very real friendship and a very real bond. If that person then finds themselves in situations that are tough, very often the people bond in a very different way. When I had the C plus math, the boat was a very, very new channel, and we had a really small audience. But a lot of those people were more involved than anyone else that ever came along. We were such a little community when the boat was new, and when I got sick, the outreach was frightening. It really was, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I was so overwhelmed by the outpouring of affection and emotion. Um, it was terrifying. It was so hard to deal with, especially because of where I had been coming from. Coming from prison to be in a place where I got sick. I didn't feel like, especially until like day 3, I felt pretty damn good, right? But I really got a taste of what happens when drama creeps up in your life. And make no mistake, as a content creator, you guys like drama. You like it when there's drama in our life. And I don't mean that you like to see us argue with other people. And I don't mean, but legit drama. If I came on every day and I said, hell of a day today, everything was perfect. Nothing interesting to talk about. But the truth is, I'm fighting every day to stay sober like everybody else on this channel. And the reason that people tend to come here is because I am very open about that. I've done videos where that were titled I really want to get high. I think that was one that really pissed off a lot of people, but that is exactly what was happening in my head. Now, that gets views. It does, because the people watching, well, you got a lot of people who are really invested in you as a human, and they're really praying for you, pulling for you, whatever it is that person does. But they are more than just somebody watching a channel. They're very spiritually involved in this. And truthfully and honestly, that caring is a very, very intense thing. It's also a real temptation to continue to come up with drama. And it may sound really sick, but you also have to understand that people who do this make paychecks off doing this, myself included. And if you go back to like last December, people pop up in the chat all the time who just want to bag on me, which is pretty normal for content creators. But one of the constant bitches is, how much do you make doing the lifeboat? In December, right? On the heels of the Danny Masterson trial, I did over $7,000 with views and everything. That's what the boat did that month. Now, I can do it the next month by continuing to talk about this. And I knew that. If I talked about that cat, it was 25,000 views. And if I talked about sobriety, I got 4,000. But there's a bunch of drama there. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people really like, I get pissed about that, right? The Danny thing it's an offensive case. And after having met people involved, it became far more offensive. And that drama, it absolutely sells. I, however, start feeling like I'm milking this. And the last thing that I wanted to do, it's one of the reasons, people, that I made changes with how I deal with all of everything having to do with SPTV or any of that. I really changed how I never want to be the dude that looks like I'm cashing in as much as possible on on the tragedy, right? I honestly, that to me is uncomfortable. And you don't have to agree with me on this, by the way. A lot of you don't. I got so much mail from people that wanted me to continue to talk about Danny. Truth is this: we don't know what's going on in there with him. We don't. Somebody can say they do, but we don't. And I didn't want to continue to do drama for the sake of drama, right? Honestly. And I think that this is something that happens a lot on the big red button. And I'll tell you something else. The trolls, the people that go after you, actually more often than not have a very different effect than what they're hoping for. What they do is they create fans who bond to you as much for your content as for the fact that you're being abused by other people, right? How many times do your favorite content creators seem like they're really getting slapped around? Reese's channel is called Relatable Reese, is the name of the channel, Relatable Reese. But you understand what I'm saying? Very often you start to feel like, damn it, I love this dude and he's a victim. Everybody's going after him. Or I love this girl and she's a victim. All these people are going after her. It's really a bizarre phenomenon, people. This social media thing, right, that we're all right smack dab in the friggin' middle of, has zero rule book. And it has absolutely no, and there's nothing we can look back to and say, boy, you know what? The early founders of this really hit it out of the park when they did this, this, and this. And these people were really out of line when they did this, this, and this. There's none of that, right? We're all cutting new path as we go, right? We're clearing the path, so to speak. And it's a very interesting concept. It really is. It's a very interesting concept. How much do you share? And are you sharing for clicks? Because as my partner started to talk about what was going on with the Royal Order of out of shape older white guys, as all of that started to come out, you start to get people who will say, "Man, you know what? You're doing this for clicks." Clicks are people watching what you're talking about, right? Make no mistake, I've not met somebody on YouTube who does what they do for any other reason. As of yet, I've not. I'm trying to help people get sober more than anything in the world. It is my drive. It's the reason I get up every day, right? And I'm doing it for clicks because every click is someone that's hearing a message that I really truthfully and honestly believe in, right? The people who don't seem to get that, people who think that drama is drama is drama is drama, I don't think really understand the format. I don't think you understand exactly what this is that we do, right? How do you share your life with a group of people who really care about you and not tell them something this pivotal? And if you do, should you try to not get views? You should try to get as many damn views as you can, right? This is actually something. If you think this is a victimless crime, let me explain this just real quickly. There are young guys, right, who are aspiring to be solid members of society, who look to these fraternities as organizations that do wonderful stuff. They're donating money to this organization or they're helping that organization. Sounds fantastic. And they seem to be pillars of the community who all seem to support one another. And you get an invite and you're stoked. You've never been happier, right? This is a big deal. During the initiation process, you're going to have to remove all of your clothing. Now, a guy might walk out at that point, right? They might. They may not have any clue where it goes from there, but this has been purported by their members. This is, you can go find this. I'm not telling you anything that you can't easily go find. But a prostitute is basically foisted on this person, right? And now what? Seriously. Now you've put this person in the worst situation you possibly could. This is not a victimless crime. Forget the fact that without this kind of crap, then there wouldn't be prostitution that takes place out of a situation where maybe the people involved can be protected, right? We already heard stories of these fine, upstanding men who may have gotten out of line and hurt a prostitute. Fear not, they were kicked out. Does it make you feel good? Because it didn't do anything for me. This isn't victimless. It's really pretty disgusting. Is it getting done for clicks? People, drama, yeah. Drama can be a really ugly thing. You also cannot bring something into the light to disinfect it and not tell the story. The story happens to be salacious. And I, for one, hope it gets a crapload of clicks because every single one of those clicks pushes this out a little bit further. If this is, and I can't verify anything outside of this little disgusting organization, but if they're all doing this, this is a friggin' problem. Seriously, in 2024, this is disgusting. By the way, public officials take oaths, right? Where they say stuff like, I do not belong to any secret societies. These people are bragging about these people being in places of office and things like that. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. These upstanding cats. But I think that we really need to give this social media thing maybe a different view, maybe a different look. Because there is a potential, right? I'm going to sound like I'm dreaming. But there is a potential for this kind of social media to, dare I say, make the earth a better place. For real. It also has the opportunity to let you accidentally run wild in ways you cannot believe. I have watched people go after other people because they're not in the same room, because they sit in another state, or whatever the case may be. But I have watched people become, I mean, terrifying in terms of the things that they say and the threats that they make and things of that nature because they feel like their favorite content creator has been slighted or their favorite content creator has been insulted. If that kind of drama bonding is going on, you need to take a deep breath. I'm not worth it. For real. And I'm a pretty good dude. Right? My brother's not worth it. And he's a better dude than me. Quibs ain't worth it. And she's my favorite person. That's honestly, I think it's really cool that they're not parasocial relationships. I think it's fantastic that there are real legitimate relationships being built. And we travel around the country and we see these people, and it's absolutely remarkable. I've had some of the best experiences of my life, no lie, meeting people. I had such an unbelievable time in when we were in Phoenix, and to have people come up and tell you their stories, right? And it's we sit in front of this and we talk, but when you meet people in person and now the story is so real, right? It's overwhelming. But the drama stuff, I will let you into the drama of my life. I chose to do that, right? Good, bad, or ugly. That is exactly what I have chosen to do. And I'm pretty cool with 99.9% of it. Is just lovely anyway, for real. And the people that don't like me, I'm not mad at you. I really am not. But the people that take it to the levels that some of the people take it to really starts this drama bonding thing is real. It really is. And what's crazy, there these things are turning into cases. I've actually had a couple of content creators who have reached out to see if I wanted to do shows on it, where people are attacking creators. This drama bonding stuff gets very, very real, and it's kind of amazing. It really is, and it's humbling as a content creator that people could get that enthralled. It's absolutely beautiful, and I understand it. Believe it or not, I really do understand it, especially because of the fact that most content creators don't interact with their audience, and when you start to, you make great friendships. You make absolutely beautiful friendships, the best that I've had in my life. That's no lie. However, there's going to be people who think that maybe you're kinder to somebody than you are to somebody else. A lot of really weird stuff begins to happen. But the drama bonding stuff, I don't know. I really hope that the totality of the stuff that I put up on YouTube gets seen by at least a handful of people. You know what I mean by that? Here's the thing. If you only pop the videos that I do that have a crap load of views, you're going to miss everything I talk about. I mean, honestly, you're going to miss all of the things that we do here that is actually really cool. Because unfortunately, drama sells, right? And I am the first to admit that I pay the bills with it. For real. If I talk about Diddy, I'm going to get a crap load of views. Right? That's a subject that brings in a lot of views, but I'm not going to keep putting up content every day if there isn't anything in the story. And you can watch Diddy stories every single day, and they will repackage what you saw the day before. They will have you convinced that you are getting ready to watch somebody that literally has a video of him confessing and then give you nothing. Right? But we will continue to watch these things, sometimes 10, 12, 15 of them, knowing you're getting clickbaited. We really get drawn in. And I'm the first to admit it. I really am. I'm the first to admit it. And you know something? Because of how much I get invested in stuff like this, I have dropped out of everything that pops up in any way, shape, or form with other kinds of drama. For real. If I have to tell a story about something and there's drama involved in it, that's part of what we do, right? I am never again going to involve myself in the drama of social media. I stopped doing it December 4th, a few years back. And every once in a while you pop, something drives you nuts and you comment. But in terms of like responding to people who talk about me or doing any of those things, yeah. A couple of Decembers ago on December 4th, I just said, you know what? I was a New Year's resolution that I decided to do early. I was never going to look at anybody that talked crap about me again. I just don't care. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I have been at a completely different level of peace. But what if, hey, Kenneth, but what if you're not creating? What if you're watching? I will lecture no one on what they watch. I don't care. It's completely up to you. And I say to people, I don't need you to send me any. If you think someone's watching me on a channel that they shouldn't be on, I don't need to know any of that crap. And if I sound like I'm repeating myself, it's because I know a lot of you love me for real. You're sending this out of love because you think you really should know this. I don't need to know this. I really don't. It doesn't change what I do here. And that's no joke, right? I've worked with people and tried to help them after they were trolls. I really believe in this stuff, people. I'm not kidding you. I woke up every day for decades needing a shot of dope. And I mean, not like, ooh, I need to get high and ooh, I want to feel better. This is, I'm not going to be able to walk out the front door. I don't get this. When you can leave that and somehow you're able to put that in the rear view mirror, it leaves a very serious, indelible mark. And honestly, I feel like I was blessed beyond belief that there was somebody ready to help me because they didn't do it. The federal government didn't provide this. There wasn't somebody in there. This was a convict, right? Who's not going to get out of prison. That didn't have any reason whatsoever to put up with the abuse he was going to have to put up with to try to help me because I had the wrong skin color. Right? His people don't want him talking to me. My people don't want me talking to him. It's a very disgusting and racist society inside prison. And that's how they want it. Make no mistake. If you think it's something that the fellas have implemented, there may have been a time a long time ago before I ever got to prison that was the case. The truth of the matter is the whites and the blacks get along beautifully in prison. Sadly, they don't talk much because they're all afraid of what their other friends are going to say. But I've never talked to one who said anything other than, yeah, I wish it wasn't like this. You know, we could probably hang out. With the exception of Q, who straight did not give a shit. He didn't care. You know, he had done enough time that he was very, very comfortable with who he was. And he was also not one to back down. But for the grace of God, right? I mean, I could be doing life and he could be the dude getting out. I don't know that I would have been as good a person as he is, but I feel a very serious desire to try to help as many people as I can. That's real. Just plain and simple. That is real. This is the greatest format in the world to find people who are trying to better themselves, right? Bottom line, that's all we're doing is we're trying to find people who want to better themselves. And it doesn't matter whether it's drugs or anything else, anything. What has happened across the board is we don't communicate anymore. This is just a fact, people. It's a sad fact, but it's a fact. There is no longer any cohesion at all as a society, as people. If I got 250 people in the chat, if I started talking about anything having to do with politics, I would offend half of them. And that's horrific because there was a time where we could talk about just about anything. The beautiful thing is I have found beyond a doubt that in almost every case, and it's not every case, there are people who are so ideologically entrenched that there's nothing you can do. But I can't tell you how often that I have had a chance to meet people who have come up and given me the biggest hug and said, I don't think we agree on anything. Right? Seriously. And they'd say, I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that we don't share any political views. But who cares? Right? What we share is every single day that we open our eyes, we'd like it to be just a little better than the previous one. Right? Honestly. And if there's any freaking thing we could do about it, we'd like to leave the earth a slightly better place than we found it. Yeah. We're celebrating right now in America. I'm not sure if you've heard this, but we're currently celebrating in this country because for the first time in a long time, we dipped in the number of deaths. Now, I will tell you straight out, if you're not testing for nitazines specifically, you're not going to catch them. It's going to make it a very, very difficult process. But regardless, we dropped by 3,000. And this is a celebration. The first time we had an opioid crisis in this country, we had 4,000 deaths in a year. And we were horrified. Now we're pumping our fists in the air because the number of deaths has dropped by 1,000 and change. That's roughly the number of people we lost on 9/11. Right? I'm not all that stoked. I really am not. This thing that we do here with social media, and I am not unique, by the way. We talk about some very specific things here, But I don't care if you're here. I don't care if you're on any of the other creators' channels. What I think is the synergy. It doesn't matter whether I'm talking about Scientology or I'm talking about anything else. The audience, right? You all know one another. And I see you in other chats and you guys are talking and you're connecting. Now, I'd rather have you in the same room. I think connection where you're actually looking at somebody is the greatest possible case scenario. But well, how about harm reduction? How about if we start right now, right? Just being a little kinder and reaching out to a few more people. There's not a doubt in my mind. I'm not joking when I say I didn't watch the video today. I get really uncomfortable. I can't explain it, but I get super, super uncomfortable. But I know without looking that the comment section had to be one of the biggest love fests on the internet today, right? I'm sure that there was, there's always a couple, but I guarantee you the vast majority of people there were just effervescently, bubbling over with love that these two strong women got together and talked about all of the shit that they've had to overcome in life and the fact that they're both still standing and smiling. That's good stuff. That's connection, right? There's drama all over it, guaranteed, right? Reese tells her story. Natalie tells her story. There's going to be drama all over it. You see the difference between that kind of drama and the kind of drama where, your favorite creator or your least favorite creator, whoever, is always either attacking or a victim, right? One or the other. They're always either attacking someone or they're a victim. And we find ourselves all the time going, oh, poor this person, or oh, poor that person. I was that cat. I can't tell you. 90% of the shit I was doing on my channel was just to answer trolls. And you can get so bogged down that becomes your channel, right? And it's a crying friggin' shame because it's usually not what people tuned in for. It certainly wasn't here, right? Here, people tuned in because they were hoping to try to find a better way to live. And I'm no guru, but I seem to bring in a whole bunch of people that all have a ton of life experience that really, really seem to benefit others. So often I get emails from people who will tell me the moment that the light bulb went off. The moment on the lifeboat where they heard that thing that made them want to either quit doing what they were doing or start something. They may not have even been an addict. And I can't tell you how infrequently it's something I said. 90% of the time they will say, so-and-so in the chat said this, or they'll show me a screenshot of it. There's a shit pile of therapy going on YouTube, people. There really is. Analytical Blarney says, thank you for all you do for each of us, this community, and those who are brand new. Thank you for being a bright light in the YouTube streets. A cool thing to say. I think back in the beginning, we were very fond of saying that we were an oasis of love, right, in a desert of hate. But at the time, I truthfully believed that there was only a handful of channels that were trying to do anything different. And it's not that way now. It really is not that way. There is a crap ton of channels who interact with their audience and give their audience an opportunity to come together. The question becomes, what does the comment section look like? Have you ever been in one of those comment sections where it's like, man, everything that's said is negative? Well, and it may not be negative toward the person talking, right? Or maybe it is, but there's negativity that just flies all over the place. Done a lot of shows on this, man. I've done a lot of shows on this, and it's, in my opinion, and it's all it is, people. I'm no doctor. I don't play one on YouTube, and I'm certainly not a friggin' guru. But I will tell you something. In my experience, negativity it's what you're going to get out. I mean, no shit. We program ourselves with this hate. Even the elections and stuff that are coming up. You can discuss issues, but nobody can do that anymore. Now it's just, we pick on this person, they pick on that person, and we take turns doing it. And there's plenty of ammo to really shred both of those people, but it's not going to do shit to make this place any better. And that really is the problem. We need to do something because we're sinking. I don't mean the lifeboat. Pretty damn happy with where the boat is. I can't speak for anyone else, but your views do not matter to me. All I care about is that you're a good person. You're my friend. You're my friend, period. Different views aside. Thank you so much, Jamie Palmer. Well, you know what? I believe that's possible here. And you know what else? I also believe that it is possible to do this on a show where people get together to talk about anything they're passionate about. For real. This is how the world used to work. If you were golfers, you got together and you were passionate about golf. And no matter what was going on in the world and how much you disagreed, you could tell me how you double bogeyed the fourth hole today, right? Or you got up there on a tee, you pull hook the first one into the parking lot. And it's like, because that was always the rallying point. Or, right, whatever else you're into, racquetball, tennis, right? Watches. I have made friends in the watch business that a part of the world that one of my watch connections lives in was undergoing fires, and I was panicked. I was in a dead panic that something could be happening to him. And what's funny is another person that I worked with was reaching out to me. Both of us we were tripping. It was and these are people that I met, online. I've never met them in person. You really can begin to build connections, and if it's around something that you really share a common love with, right? Watches. I could talk to this guy at a very thick accent. He's originally Romanian. He's got an incredibly thick accent, but we can talk about watches till the end of time. And I mean, there are nights we've spent 3 or 4 hours sending each other pictures back and forth, and talking about dream watches. Then, if I happen to find out that this guy worships whatever, I know him already, right? I dig this dude. We understand each other. I know his tastes. There's a lot there already. Rallying around what? Timepieces. It's really funny how much you can put up with if you know that you and someone share a real love of something, a common love of something. And I'll tell you, the number of you here watching and being very kind who started out hating me is proof of this. Because what ended up happening is that a lot of you got to see me through Quibble's eyes. For real. The way she talks about me, the way it's a very, very different thing when you just see someone or you hear, guy robbed a bunch of banks, right? Did you know he was a con man? Like, I've been super open about my past, and it opens you up for a bunch of crap. The funny thing is, it opens you up for crap you admitted. But people, if you just got to the channel today, you might not know I'm a bank robber, right? Probably do. We joke about it on Cults and Crims and other things. You may not know that I ripped people off in a bunch of other ways. But if you've been watching the boat for any length of time, you probably have a pretty good handle on it. I've been very, very open, right? That in itself is a ton of drama. It is. It's a ton of drama from my life. And it has absolutely bonded me to a lot of people here. A lot of people that know everything there is to know about me. When people start to cut me down, I have fans that go nuts. I do. I have fans that go nuts. I hope that it's not messing up anybody's serenity. Let it roll off your back. For real. I mean, we all know each other really well here. I don't think we need to be concerned about anything anyone else thinks. And right now, honestly, this is the smallest amount of drama that we've had going on the lifeboat probably since I can remember. Honestly. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that Spanky does things differently than I do. I'm probably soft in a lot of ways, believe it or not. I'm probably, I could be tougher. Nat B, thank you so much. The boat is one of a kind. A sweet thing to say. And you know what? I believe that to be true. Debbie Zito says, tomorrow is quit day 1062 for me from smoking. Where the hell is that huge trophy? Hold on a second. That is worthy. 1062 days? That is epic. Good for you, Debbie. Do you love that? Saying it out loud for accountability. 15 years old, and it's freaking time. Wish me luck. I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever you're going to hit this out of the park. A lot of doubt in my mind. Way to step up to the plate. Yes? It's a beautiful thing, people. It really is. It's also the basic premise of how we started here. And I didn't care if it was drugs. Honestly, I didn't. I was always said this channel is about living your best life. But what I came to realize as I got going was that everything is so interconnected. It's incredible. I can talk to people, and if you could hear the conversations that I have with somebody who's struggling because this thing absolutely dominates their life to the point where their quality of life is going down because of the amount of time that they spend with screen time. This is an epidemic. There are other countries that have declared this literally national emergencies. It's incredible. But I haven't met anybody yet that doesn't have an addiction. I'm sorry, I haven't. I used to believe, honestly, I used to believe that it was a very small percentage of the population that was addicted to anything. Now I think that there is very few people on this earth, and certainly in this country, that aren't addicted to something. By the year 2030, half of this country will be obese. This is a fact, right? By 2030, one out of every two people. So obviously, we have a lot of people who struggle with food, and it's used to be considered the largest addiction on earth was food slash sugar. But the mighty iPhone has really stepped up its game in terms of being a very, very addicting an addicting thing. And sadly, social media turbocharges it, right? It really does. First thing that happens when an airplane touches the ground, you can look and watch people, and then they're not going to check emails. They're checking Instagram, see if they got any likes, right? How many likes did they get on their last thing? You do realize they literally referred to it in Silicon Valley as a dopamine hit. They knew what it was doing. They knew it was addicting, right? But you got to admit, it's really tempting. You ever see kids with one? You're like, oh man, I don't even have to think. I mean, what a babysitter. Horrific, right? Terrifying. And the fact that, that one that goes like this. Yeah. Do a deep dive on that. Go to some of the videos I've done on it. Tommy, thank you for what you do. And as Natalie says, you do you, boo. I like coming here because it's just a friendly place. Much love to you. You know what? I love that you're here. And I really dig the fact, brownie buttons, making it rain, like hot sauce packs. I truthfully believe that what we have going for us here more than anything is how much the people on this channel care about one another. I know that there's a great relationship between me and the people on the boat. I know this. Honestly, I don't think there are more supportive people anywhere on the net. Obviously, Reese's fans are fans, but I have been so surrounded so often by all of you during the worst of times in my life, and I have brought you guys some drama. We've gone to the hospital a few times together. We've done some. We really have done a lot, and I've just begun, people. I'm telling you, with Spanky doing what he's doing, I've just begun. It's giving me an opportunity to do what I love. I absolutely dig sitting in front of this boom mic. I don't think you have any idea. For real, this is a happy place for me, a very happy place for me. The stuff that I was doing was really sort of bogging me down, but my son has stepped up to the plate and really made it a lot easier for me. And I can't thank him enough for that. Brownie Buttons, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Izzy E, goodness gracious, this entire boat will be green. What's that song? Doesn't Kermit do a song? Something about being green. It's not easy being green? I beg to differ. Since we're doing the green thing, you got to admit, this is a great hat. I would not sell this hat for a really good watch. Do you follow the channel Wristwatch Revival? I sure do. That guy handles some cool timepieces. I will absolutely plug it because it is a great channel. I'm a fan. And then you know what? The only thing that drives me nuts about that cat, what drives me nuts about that cat is he will say he's an amateur, right? He's not a watchmaker. This is a hobby. He's not watching that man do what he does and do it with the speed and the grace that he does it with. And I know it's edited, but I know exactly what it takes to put a gear train in, and watching that man put all of the wheels in for a gear train and do it with the ease that he does it sometimes makes me hate him. But it's an excellent channel. It really is. Purple Groovy. Love isn't something you find. Love is something that finds you. You know what? There's a lot of truth to that, isn't there? Good God in heaven. Lisa Trimble. It is so good to see you. Lisa Trimble really just made it rain like hot sauce packets. I love you, Lisa. I really do. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much. Everyone is turning green. Get your comments up quickly, quickly. Turn green. I found you through Aaron. I stayed with the boat for the connection. Not addicted to drugs or alcohol. but was to smoking. And I am a man who wanted info on addiction. Well, I love a mom, I'm sorry, that wanted info on addiction. Uh, I love this. Honestly, this to me is this is kind of a public service kind of a thing, no joke, because it's become really apparent to me just how bad um, just how bad the misinformation campaign is out there currently on our drug supply. It doesn't have to be any worse. We do not have to lie to kids in order to keep them off of this stuff. We need to tell them the truth. So I'm glad that people are coming here to listen. There's so much misinformation out there right now about they they really like to tell kids all of the statistics on carfentanil and then tell them that it's fentanyl. This is becoming an epidemic in this country. And the trouble with that is if you touch carfentanil, it'll kill you, right? So you can think to yourself, well, that's a good thing to tell kids because then they won't touch it, right? The problem is they're going to see someone else touching it, right? The guy's going to be handling a bag of perk 30s and they're going to go, what do you got? Perks. Are they real? No, it's fent. No, man, if that was fent, it would be killing you. You can't just touch that, right? That stuff will kill you. And then you got a kid telling another kid, no, they lied to you. It ain't like that. That's just the shit they say in the news. It's not like that. I'm telling you, the worst thing you can do in the world is lie to a kid. For real. And it doesn't need to be any worse than we're making it. I promise you. Hey, Kenneth says, just because I love you. I really do. Such a very, very cool thing to say. As a Generation X, we knew how to entertain ourselves and made the best memories of it. You know what, Nat B? There's a lot of truth to that. We are group harm reduction. Wow, is that a t-shirt waiting to happen? I'm gonna write that down, actually. You know something, people, you'd be really surprised at just how much crap people like to give you for the whole harm reduction thing. It really is sad. It really is. Because unfortunately, not the hat. Come on, you love the hat. The Cletus Scoville, that's right. It is Cletus Scoville. Jason B. Tommy, you have done more for us than you will ever know. The lifeboat is better than any therapy I've ever had. Forever grateful, brother. Jason, I love you, man. It was an honor to meet you. It really was, and I look forward to doing it again. I know we'll probably be back there next year for that. So I really look forward to running into you again. It was an honor. It really was. Like I said, there really is nothing better than when you get an opportunity to go and meet the people. This is something that I talk about this. Hey, Spanky, good to see you. You know what, Lisa? Lisa's very supportive in her own right. You always have been, and I really appreciate that. Harm reduction, yeah, team harm reduction, also a great t-shirt. But one of the things that I think really gets lost in translation, and if Quibble were here, she would back me up on this. So would my brother. Probably any content creator, especially if you get to any size. Like if you get you start getting 400 or 500 subscribers, all of a sudden there's a lot more people that know you than you know, right? It is just as exciting for the content creator, right, to meet you in person as it is for you to meet the content creator. And I know that probably seems incongruous because we're sitting in front of the camera, but to us, like, you know what we look like, you know what we sound like. Did you ever watch the videos I did with Quibble when Spanky had us doing the call-in shows, which, by the way, we will be starting, I promise. I probably will be doing it when I am back home because I think it's going to make me miss here a little less. Already missing Quibs, if you want to know the truth. I'm bummed out at, but it's all part of this, yeah? All part of this. Analytical Blarney, thank you so much. 5 more hot sauce packets flying. You guys have been really fantastic and supportive this evening. I really appreciate that. And I hope everybody, I hope nobody misunderstands anything that I am saying tonight. I do not believe. Great question, Debbie P. I do not believe for a hot second in this parasocial stuff. I really don't. I think that there are people out there that get very attached before they know you, and sometimes, but that's kind of the nature of anything that you do. If you're a public speaker, if you're doing anything where you perform in any way, that's kind of natural somewhat. The difference is that because of the interaction as a public speaker, I wouldn't talk to somebody in the audience. Like, that's a death sentence. You don't ever interact with anybody. It's the last thing in the world you'd want to do. What we do here is so different, but it is so beautiful. I have had an opportunity to watch what the Real Table Reese audience has done for her. We've been close for a really, really long time. And I obviously we started out as just really great friends, but we talked a lot. And I think because of what we do on the lifeboat, I tend to I watch Quib differently. Again, I won't watch a whole show. I don't want to read the chat. So I go back afterwards and I'll watch it without the chat on and I do things. But I have watched Reese become a different human being in 6 months, so much different than the one that I met. And you know what? Wyatt, Wyatt's doing a great job. Her therapist is fantastic. Reese is working really hard on Reese, but the best therapist she's had has been her audience. I'm not joking. And it's bizarre to watch her, right? Because literally she knows what's going on in every one of your lives. For real. And that makes sense a lot more on the lifeboat, right? That would make a lot more sense. I mean, I have to be kind of knowing what's going on because there are so many people who are specifically asking for help. Quibble just loves everybody. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I don't see it a lot in other places. And I wish the world saw Quib through my eyes too. Are there tests for nits like there are for Fent? Debbie P, this is terrifying. There are not yet. You're talking about like currently there are test strips that you can get all over the US that you can rub on your supply and it's going to tell you if there's fentanyl in it. You can't do that yet for ISO or phytonidazines. Here's the problem anyway, though. Here's what I think that the person who's watching this who doesn't understand the streets and these street drugs, what you're missing is that even if the supply, even if you know that the dope has fentanyl in it, you're gonna do it. There is no alternative anymore. You're not going to go, oh, I'm going to throw this out and go buy more because you're just going to buy more fent. You know, there's so little real diacetylmorphine, heroin. There's none. They're not producing it. There's not enough demand. Honestly, it's a very labor intensive process. When the poppies grow, these are entire fields. I'm talking about acre after acre after acre of poppy bulbs. You know, they got to cut every one of those bulbs with a razor, and they usually cut 3 or 4, depending on how big it is, relief cuts in the side of the poppy bulb. And then the sap runs out. Then they got to go back and scrape all that sap off and put it in big collection bags. This is a labor intensive thing. Instead, they can make a drug as potent. What am I saying? They can make a drug so much more potent and do it for pennies on the dollar and no workforce, right? And as fast as they want to make it. Here's the other thing. They can make a ball of it this big, but they can make the ball of it this big as strong as they want. In other words, if you make it off of a poppy, it's only going to get as strong as that poppy was. You can't go, all right, well, we'll just make it stronger. But when it is an opioid and not an opiate, and you're making it in a lab, you can just continually make it more potent, more potent, more potent. All of a sudden, fentanyl starts becoming carfentanil, which was really designed for pachyderms, right? It was an elephant tranquilizer. It's never meant to be anywhere near a human being. Our body can't handle it. I mean, it just turns off the switch, even going through your skin. But the stories that you hear of people who came in contact with something, it's not usually carfentanil. I mean, I do believe there is a case of it in the US. And when it happens, it's some jackwagon that figures out a way to get it online, probably from a vet or, some zoo handler that gets some out. But this isn't stuff that's getting into the drug supply. And the reason, if you want to think about it like this, is that 1 grain of salt, right, could kill 25 people. I'm not saying this is literally, I'm giving you this for a visual image. If 1 grain of salt could do that, how could you cut that grain of salt into 10,000 grains of salt and not have it all collect in one spot? They're called hot spots. And this is the problem with any drug that is that strong. You would have to pulverize it so that it could be suspended throughout all of the cut. And that just doesn't work. So again, maybe don't tell your kids that there's carfentanil out there. You can absolutely tell them that, these pills, right? These Perk 30s, 60% of them, have a dose strong enough to kill you. Is it going to? It's going to, sometimes it gets, people that try it for the first time and it ends their lives. What makes this insidious? I'm sorry. I was an active heroin addict for most of my adult life. Nevertheless, it's not really sad when you lose someone like that. And I don't mean that to be cold-hearted, but you go, yeah, I mean, I did dope every day. This is going to happen at some point. And there was always a part of me that went, at least they're free, right? The battle's over. At least they're free. But when a girl is on her way, to go out with friends and says, oh, I got to go back home. I need a painkiller. She had her teeth out, said, I need to go back and get what did they give you? Her friend says, Percocet. He says, I got Percocets. I gave her a Perc 30, which of course was not made by a pharmaceutical company, but pressed by somebody with a pill in their garage. And it killed her. These are the stories that have got to stop, right? Unfortunately, because of a very tainted drug supply, hey, Chris, welcome. We are very, very susceptible to a lot of people. There are just too many people who experiment with drugs that are going to end up catching that fatal dose long before they ever have a bad habit or an addiction. And that's tragic. It is tragic. The drug is so much more dangerous, says Shannon Smith. And to be honest, phytonidazines are that much stronger again than fent. So this isn't real fentanyl anyway. It's an analog of fentanyl. But these analogs that are out there, they're saying that phytos and isonitazines, the NIT family, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 30 times the strength of fentanyl, because we need that, right? They're not doing it because it's stronger. They're doing it because it's cheaper. This is like nitazines, this whole family. It is to opiates what crystal meth was to amphetamines. It's a very easily made, very cheap, they can crank this crap out in a bathtub kind of recipe, which we've never really had to endure this yet. Honestly, we haven't. There's never been the ability to create a bathtub opioid, but boy, we got it now. So I would say buckle up. If you have kids or grandkids, this is the time where you have to have this discussion with them. Sadly, it's just a fact that if you don't have this conversation with your loved ones, God forbid, you find yourself in the situation that so many other people have, where you sit there and go, "Oh, what if I had talked to them? Would it have made a difference?" Don't ever put yourself in that position. Mile High Hokey, great freaking question. Says, why are giant sellers and marketplaces such as Amazon still selling pill presses? Unbelievable how easy it is to buy the tools made to make these drugs. Well, that's a hell of a question, isn't it? Now, here's the thing. I'm all for free markets. I really am. I'm all for the ability to buy, but they sell the dyes to make a counterfeit Percocet 30, right? On the same site. You can buy a dye to press out the M30s. That's an issue for me. It really is. That's an issue for me. And we've been talking about it here for years. So I don't understand, why this isn't something that people in power have not said, you know what? I'm not suggesting that you make it so that a person can't buy any of this stuff. I mean, seriously, what if this is something you need for business? You should be able to own it. But I think you should probably have to let people know what you're doing, right? For real. I think you should have to answer to somebody. If you happen to have one of these in your friggin' house, they should know what it's in there for. That's my opinion. And I know that that's not the libertarian, edict, but I'm sorry, desperate times call for desperate measures. As a high school special education teacher, I truly appreciate this education that you give out for free. I am learning so much and feel better equipped when watching out for my students. Thank you. Analytical Blarney, absolutely warms my heart to hear that. And I'll tell you something, know what to look for. This is one of the nice things about this stuff, is that the nod is one of the easiest affectations in the drug world to see. It is very, very difficult to control a serious opiate buzz. It's a very, very difficult thing. The nod is the mid sentence. And when the head goes down, right, it's that literally gravity. Your body goes, what the hell just happened? You feel like you're falling and you sort of catch yourself and go back up. The incredible thing is it's what every addict in the world who is addicted to that, that's what we're in it for that. We're in it for that moment of feeling like you literally are fading out and coming back. It's terrible to think about it, but that literally is what we're after, right? We're after that feeling where you don't feel like you're part of this world anymore. Really depressing. Yeah. Chris, I love it. I honestly believe that. So we've seen these pressed into candies. We've seen them pressed into tons of different candies, and we've seen it pressed into 58 different pills so far, right? They made Skittles, they made Nerds. They're not trying to get this into the kids' hands. It's not what they're doing. They're trying to smuggle it that way. However, how friggin' dangerous is this? Yeah, I don't want my kids, right? You can't take a pill if it doesn't come out of a pill bottle that has your name on it, right? That's it. You got it at a pharmacy. That's the only way you're taking a pill is if you got it at the pharmacy and your name is on the label of that bottle, good to go. No other way. And then in terms of things like the candies and everything else, I don't know that I could possibly talk to my kids more about drugs. I don't know that it's possible, but I've done a couple of different shows on how I recommend doing it. I would say double back and look for them. Because I honestly, I'm fairly proud of that work. I really am. It's scary to have a child in college, especially in another state. Aspire, I absolutely concur. That's got to be terrifying. Communication, 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 communication. Just got to know that the drug supply is tainted. There's no such thing as recreational drugs anymore. There is such thing as drama bonding. People, I'm going to be doing a show very shortly on the other channel that I do. Not sure if you guys know this. Got another channel. I do it with my partner. It's called Cults and Crims. I'm an ex-criminal. She was raised in a cult, second generation Scientologist. So we are the ex-cult member and the ex-crim member. Cults and Crims were funny. If you've never seen it, stop by. If you have not hit subscribe on this channel, or maybe you decided to unsubscribe when you thought I was a cad breaking up a marriage, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. Sorry. Yeah, please feel